Teacher D, and for today's video, we're going to discuss about language acquisition and language learning. So, let's get started. What is language acquisition? Language acquisition is a natural assimilation of language by means of intuition and subconscious learning. This means that learning language was not acquired to follow any systematic rules or definitions or practices. Language acquisition is also the product of real interaction between people in environment of the target language and culture, where the learner plays an active to develop his communicative ability. In language acquisition, children acquire language through a subconscious process during which they are unaware of grammatical rules. This happens naturally when they acquire their first language, which is their mother tongue. Children repeat what is said to them and get a feel for what is correct and what is not correct. In the language acquisition, there are 5 to 6 stages, and let's talk about the first stage, which is the cawing. Cawing is a soft murmuring sound produced by a baby in his initial 5 to 6 weeks. And the second stage is bubbling, which also called as prelinguistic. It starts between 6 to 8 months. Basic sounds are produced like baba, bubu, dada, and mama. The third stage is also called as one-word stage, or also known as holoprasic stage. It is developed around 1 year when one word is used to convey wants and emotions. Example, eat, mom, go, and mine. So the one-word stage is followed by two-word stage. It is commonly occurring between 18 to 24 months when child produce simple sentence. The fifth stage is multiple word stage, or also called as telegraphic. It happens between 24 to 30 months. At this stage, child lacks grammar but is trying to say multiple words in a sentence. And last but not the least, latter multiple word or language stage, coming after 30 months when grammar is emerging and the sentences are longer and complex. So in this way, the language is gradually learned. And that was language acquisition all about. And now let's proceed to the new topic, which is the language learning. So what is language learning? Language learning refers to the analysis and the study of the language as a system, primarily in its written form. The objective is to understand the structure of the language and produce knowledge about it. Now we know that the mother tongue is mostly acquired while the second language is mostly learned. Therefore, whichever language we are learning, it is following a proper structure or rules. So the learners has go to proper practice efforts to learn a language. He is required to grab and use pen or paper, learn vocabulary, grammar, and many more. And by that, we can say that he or she is conscious about this process, or he or she aware of what he is learning. The most suitable example of this is the school. The teacher in the school teaches students, and this is the traditional approach to study of language for centuries, and it is still today practiced in high school worldwide. So we already finished discussing the definitions and uses of each language, and now let's move on to their differences. And as you can see in the table, we have language acquisition in the left side and language learning in the right side. So let's talk about first the first column of language acquisition, which is the subconscious. So in language acquisition, the learner is following the subconscious mind, means that he does not notice that the learning is happened, whereas in language learning, a true conscious process is involved and the learner is fully aware of him learning a language. Then the language acquisition follow a informal way of learning, means that there's no need of books, grammars, and instructions, while in language learning, a formal way is followed where language is learned properly through books, grammar, and with well-directed instructions. And with this, we can say that language acquisition is following a natural way, while language learning is following an artificial way. Then, in language acquisition, learners need a natural environment, which is just similar to language learning. And in language acquisition, focus is on the communication, while language learning was focused on form, means that a structured way is followed to learn. For example, while writing, a child is first taught how to use a subject, then verb, and then object. Then language acquisition is also composed of fast learning. It is achieved in language acquisition. This is easily to learn language acquisition because it is used in our daily life and it's not time consuming. While in the language learning, it is considered as a slower learning because it takes much time to develop child's vocabularies and learnings. And lastly, in language acquisition, it is passive learning, and while language learning, it is an active learning. And this will be the end of our discussion about language acquisition and language learning. And I hope that you learned something about what I've discussed, the definitions, the uses, and their differences, and you can apply it in the real world situations. God bless us all, and thank you.